Welcome back to BSG Automotive, guys. Today we're out on a mobile call out here in Chicagoland, and we have our first victim of the season, a 98, 99 Dodge Ram, and the battery's just totally dead in it. So we're gonna go ahead and change that. Now, if you have this concern and it's this cold out, what you have to realize is once the battery acid inside there depletes enough, it'll actually turn back into water. And then you put a jump pack on there and that battery can explode. So it's best to take the battery out and inside to thaw, and then of course get charged properly if it can come back, or put a brand new battery in like we're doing on this one. This one's 8 years old. You turn the key, nothing in the car responds. It's beyond done for. What happens, the plates inside, they get sulfated and they just can't accept that electron charge anymore because there's the sulfate on there on the plates blocking it, and then of course they degrade. So we're gonna go ahead and change it out and do some tips on this particular vehicle, how to get it out of here. Usually there's a lot of rust to deal with, so we're gonna go through it from step by step how to do it on here and get it changed out so we can get this vehicle running again. All right, now these battery terminals and the screws and the wing nuts even can be really rusted on here after many years of use. What I like to do first and foremost is put some rust penetrant on there, just in the threads right here, okay? And the stud sticking out there, and especially this bolt right here. You see that's a nice long bolt like that? Well, if it's stuck down in here where it screws in, you go to turn it up here, this is just gonna flex. It's not gonna actually transfer down to where it's stuck. So especially this down in here, you wanna spray with some rust penetrant and let it soak while you're doing everything else on here. Okay, now you're gonna wanna take off your negative battery terminal first. So we're gonna loosen that. These are 13 millimeter on these nuts on here. And depending on your design, you probably have the old style like this where it clamps in like that, and they're a real pain to get off of here. Now let's try this one. What I do is I'll loosen it, the nut all the way, and then I'll try to see if it comes off like this one. Okay, it's coming off pretty easy. Now, let's say that it's stuck. We would loosen the nut like we just did. Now, if this was stuck on here, what you would do is loosen a nut like we did, and then you between the two sides of the terminal on here, you go between there with a cat claw like this, and you start spreading it. You see that? And that'll get the clamp load off of the terminal here, or even a flat blade screwdriver. Put it in there and twist like so, and it'll spread it also. Now, if it's really stuck on there, you just can't get it off, you don't want to break the terminal off, what you can do is use a tool like this that actually pulls the terminal off by pressing off the center of the post on here. So you just basically get it onto there, like so. Get it past there, get it loosened enough. I'll show you here in a second. And then you get it underneath the terminal. These will hook underneath the terminal, and in the center part here, you'll turn it in and it'll push off the post. And I'll try to show that on here. When you tighten this one up here, it clamps in underneath the terminal, nice and tight. And then you take this top one, okay, we'll get it on there. Over here, you see it right here, it's hooked onto it, and then you just turn this, and it presses it off of there. You see that? Makes it very, very easy for ones that are stubborn and stuck onto there. You just keep going. You can see how it goes underneath there like that. You see that? Really cool stuff. Handy to have if you have a vehicle that's older and it has this style terminal onto here. The newer vehicles don't have this issue. And I'll link to all this stuff down below so you guys can get one of these. Make sure you have it on hand. Okay, now onto the other side here, the long bolt that goes down in here. Like I said, when you rusted big time down in there, so you can spray it and let it soak and loosen like we're doing right there. See that? How it's moving? But what you want to do is, since the stud on the other side you can't get to is pretty rusted, you just go back and forth like this. You tighten it back up until you break free all the corrosion on here. Now this one I can feel with my 1/4 inch that's coming as long as I go back and forth a few times. And it's not just twisting and slowly breaking on me. You can see it's actually moving in there pretty good. This rust penetrant's pretty good stuff. And that right there, that's a good sign. It means it's starting to come pretty easy. It just has a little dry spot in there that's working through. So let's loosen that. Now, if you can't do that, it's just not moving, you really want this battery to be held down properly once you put the new one in. What you can do is over here, you see this? Just pick this up, fling it to the side like that, get out of the way, keep this in place, and then yank your battery out and get it out of here. Also, what you want to do is go through your battery terminals, okay, and clean them of any kind of corrosion that's on them. Get these boots out of the way, and use something like this that neutralizes the acid and of course cleans the terminals up. And it'll foam up on there and react to the acids on the terminals. And it's a good thing to do before you put the new battery in here. And if it's summertime and you're doing this kind of stuff, when you get done with all this, it's good to take a garden hose and rinse this whole area out afterwards. For right now, we'll just be careful because it's a dead of winter. Let it do its thing for a while. According to this stuff, it'll turn, yellow foam turns pink upon contact with acid, so it'll clean it up, let it do its thing. In the meantime, let's go ahead and work this back and forth. It's actually coming pretty good now. You can spray a little bit more of the rust penetrant down in there and it will lubricate it. What you don't want to use on these long bolts is an impact because it'll just lose all its power to the flexing on there. This one's pretty rusted, right? We're going back and forth, back and forth. See, going back in, it's nice and clean, so it's fine. Coming. Get this thing all the way out of here. Now the rust penetrant has worked its way in. That's the thing you gotta realize, these bolts are long-winded, so it's gonna take a little while to get that corrosion off of there. But like you can see now, we're coming right out. So you might as well get it out, clean it, and put some penetrant on there. So if you have a wire brush or something like that, you clean the threads on here. Even a wire wheel and a bench grinder. This one's not too bad as far as corrosion. It's just the corrosion in the J-nut down there. Okay, let's throw some anti-seize on there. We're gonna put a generous amount on here, okay, on the threads. Nothing's gonna happen, and this way it has enough to work into the nut down in there and protect that, and provide some lubricant, and it'll work in the future then. And we'll get it threaded in by hand like this. So there's no cross threading because it is a fine thread. Okay, we're good. Get it out of the way. Put this back down. Okay, now that these are clean, let's wire brush them. Okay, the whole terminal, especially the inside of the terminal, okay, where it makes contact with the terminal and the battery. Look how nice that is, just from that stuff being on there. Cleans it really quick. And of course, don't forget the underside here. The threads, everything. Clean the inside, and same thing in the positive. Okay, now one other thing I do is I use this right here. What it does is it cuts into the metal on the terminal, and it'll make sure it has brand new metal for perfect contact. Inside of there, nice and shiny. that. And of course, your new battery will have good terminals on it also. You can probably see it down there now. See how shiny it is in there? It's like brand new. It has really good contact this way. Okay, at this point, if you had a garden hose, you'd rinse off these terminals with water and get all this away, including the tray, okay? But I have brake clean because it's middle of winter. And that'll do basically the same thing. You get these nice and clean. I like to use compressed air even. And same thing on this one. It just takes it right off of there. Any kind of dirt, grease, residue. Look at that terminal on there. Okay. So now at this point, wipe it up. Okay. Stuff out of here. Isolate our terminal again. Get it out of the way. Now on most vehicles, you want to just cut this handle off of here and get rid of it. And get the other part that falls too. Pull it out of there so the bracket can go across and hold it down right. Speaking of, grab that one. Don't forget the stud on this side. Make sure that comes up and through here. Okay. Put some anti-seize on here. Same thing. Get our nut started so we don't lose the stud down in there. Now mine's broken where it goes into the battery box, so I have to hook it underneath the tray once I get it on here and go from there. Okay, got our other side hooked in, so we'll start tightening this side. Get it in there. This is a very important step to make sure that you get it secure in here so there's not excessive vibration to the battery, which can ruin the plates of your brand new battery. So this will work out perfect. Nice and evenly tightened on both sides. You just have to snug it down by hand with a 1/4 inch. That's all you need. All right, let's get this terminal off of here. Pull a tab out, and this should come off. It's not frozen. Now, as far as these terminals go, what you want to do, get that off of there, is put a little bit of dielectric grease on them. I mean, a very small amount. Coat the terminal. What this does is it protects the terminal and the post on here from acid that's likely to come out at some point in life of the battery. So I'll do that. Put our positive on, okay, and same thing over here with our negative, okay. We go ahead and tighten these two nuts up on here, and then apply a little bit more of the dielectric grease on there. Okay, so let's get these tightened, okay, and you just need to snug them up. This is not like holding a suspension part in it, you know, just snug it up, and that's it, okay. Make sure they're fully seated onto there, which they should be, because everything's all cleaned up. Okay. And then a little more dielectric grease to protect it. Okay. Threads, everything. I'll protect it from the acid on there. Okay. If you have a cover, put it back on to the positive the best you can, make it fit. All right, everything's back together. It's nice and secure. Terminals look good. I can't turn them. It's another check to do. Make sure you can't turn them and twist them. They should be nice and tight. Let's go ahead and try it. Well, it sounded like a diesel there for a minute. As a post check, what I do is I make sure the alternator itself is charging the battery. So we'll go ahead and check that. Should be about 13.5 to 14.5 volts. Let's see what we got here. 14.5 volts, so we're good. Alternator's charging, current's flowing. This thing's back on the road. All right, let's go for a drive. It started up great, besides a little dieseling there. And it drives nice. Wipers don't work and stuff like that. ABS lights are on, but vehicle starts, it runs good. I can smell some coolant and stuff like that, so maybe some future repairs in this vehicle coming up this spring and summer.